The extreme BPM, Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. East African time. That's when we get to talk to people that make the music. But Tuesday, Monday through Friday, what we have is the Aegis Mix Show. So that's when we get to play more of the music. So that's why I implore you to listen more of that, because we get to provide also the entire playlist of all the music we just played on any of our social media platforms. So you can be able to check out the music, add it to your playlist, and all that. So that is Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. East African time. And then Tuesdays and Fridays is when we get to hang out with people that make that music. But also on the weekend, we have the sport radio show, which gets to play more of the music that we just played on the Aegis Mix Show during the week. And that's between 11 to 1 p.m. That's East African time. So today on the show, we played the song of his album that he put out this year. The album is called Legendary, but we played the song Righteous off that album. His name is Tramaine Long. He's on the show today. Minister Tramaine Long, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing, man? Hopefully you're doing great today. Yeah, I'm doing great.
Yeah, doing well. And glad to have you on the show. Glad we are able to play music off the album. But before we get into the album, it's your first time on the show, so we have to get into how all this got started for you. You're a producer, you also make your own music, and you're on both ends, on the backside, on behind the scenes part, but also you come on to the other side as a musician. But first, how does this all get started for you?
Well, it's started being young, in church, just watching my father. My father played the bass guitar. He can sing. He played the drums. Just being around music my whole life. But what kind of made me get in, that's where it started. And I was always singing as a kid. But what made me start taking this serious is when I think 14 years old. I just had this epiphany with my friends, and it was just like, man, I feel like we can make our own music. We was rapping around the neighborhood and doing stuff, And at this time, I wasn't thinking about gospel or nothing. I was just want to do music. So 17, when I turned 17, one of my best friends gave me FL Studios and gave me Sony Acid Pro. And then I had a little job, and I went and bought me a dynamic mic from Radio Shack. It's a store out here in America. Well, they don't. It's not here no more. But at the time, it was everywhere. So I went to Radio Shack, got me a mic and a mic stand, and I invested. That was my first time actually investing in myself. And so I wasn't good at the time, with what I was doing. I was learning. But 17 is when I started taking it serious. And then ever since then, I just put way more than 10,000 hours into my craft, mixing, songwriting, producing, um, everything dealing with the process of making music. I put hours in. Some areas I worked on more of the on the production side of things first, or just making beats. And then as I start growing, I start hearing like, man, my music don't sound like theirs. So how can I um focus in on making my sound better? How can I get it to sound like it's a record? And so I start working on that. Start working on my vocals. Start working on my lyrics. When I rap or when I sing, I just want to make sure stuff sound how it's supposed to sound. So and from 17, 2004 to now, yeah, this what it's been.
But who, who was like your blueprint? What were you looking at? Who because you said whenever you listen to other people, you're like, why? How do I make mine sound like this? Who are some of the people that were kind of helping you along that journey that maybe were inspiring what you're doing, or you are trying to get up to the same level as?
Oh, you talking about people that I was inspired by, that I'm
Yes.
like, this is the level that I'm trying to get to. It was quite a few people in different ways though, because from a producer standpoint, um, as some of the producers I looked up to, and so you're talking about 2004. You talking about at this time when you had Timbaland, you had the Kanye West, excuse me, Kanye West. You had Ryan Leslie. You had Pharrell,
Yes.
all the major producers at the time, and then me being from Atlanta, Georgia, like we had our local record labels that was local to us. So we had Camp, and so listening to a lot of those beats, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, and just listening to Lil Jon how he made his beats. A lot of those producers like that. So I just try to like, okay, let me mimic them. Let me see if I can make a beat like them. And then and I did the same thing when it came down to rapping. Rapping, I started listening to Ludacris and T.I. and guys like that. They inspired me, Jadakiss, and just listening to how they put bars together, and and just try to study how they did it. But then also I had guys that I was around, because to be honest with you, I was the one that it came so easy to everybody else. But for me, I had to work extra hard
Why
to
was
get.
that?
I mean, like it's just a natural thing for them. Like some of them, like I can sing and stuff, but so just for example, like one of my best friends, the one that taught me how to make beats, gave me FL Studios. Um, if he was on here, we'll talk. We go back and forth all the time. But one of the things that we'll be in the studio. This when we first started, and to write an 8 bar verse, 8 bars is not a lot of. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, like you know, he be done with his stuff in 5 minutes, and this stuff be fire. Like everything be done. For me to write mine 8 bars, it'll take me like 3 hours. Like to write them 8 bars. And then what was bad about it is the fact that it sounded like a nursery rhyme. Like it didn't
Oh.
even like it. So that what so getting on these songs with them, and then for them to tear me up on these songs,
Yeah.
they tear me up on them. It was a good environment to be in because we pushed each other. So it's just like, nah, bro, you didn't write that over. You know what I mean? So taking that and just like, okay, so that type of thing is kind of what helped me out. But listening to for the singing aspect, I said the different aspects of it. So you're talking about rapping, the singers. So as a child, I always listened to like Musiq Soulchild, Genuine. We grew up in the street in the hood, so we listened to number R&B and hip hop a lot of times. So we
Yeah.
was all church all the time. So listening to Genuine, Tank is like one of my favorite R&B singers. Period. Like
I think is one of everyone's favorite R&B singers, I think.
like his voice, the stuff, the things that this man do, even his penmanship. Like, so I steady and okay, and when I be around, let me see, can I hit their notes? Just maybe because I didn't have a vocal coach, I didn't have none of those things, but those were the people where they were the ones that were my benchmark, where they were my measuring stick. Like, okay, if I can get my stuff to sound like at least on their level, then I'm winning. I feel like I'm winning. But the problem was that because I was mimicking everybody, I was sounding like everybody.
Yeah, that could
So
be a problem also.
myself. So I was using them to build skill and technique. But okay, how can I take what they do and make it Tramaine? And that took me a little second. It took me a little second to get that because sometimes I'll do a song, man, that sounds just like such and such. Now, granted, you may hear a singer or whatever, you're gonna hear their influences. But some stuff I was doing is like, no, I just took their whole thing and just made, and just did another song. Like, so now I know I got myself, I know who I am. So it's just like, all right, that's Tramaine right there. So
You talked about how that took a minute, and I think it's important because even on the show we get to have a lot of new artists and up and coming artists too, and I think it's important to listen to that. Uh, it's okay to be inspired by someone, and sometimes maybe that inspiration can get you to almost sound like them, but it's the realization that, hey, how am I going to to balance the influence and then try and discover myself and find what my space is, and that can take a while, but sometimes people might get frustrated in getting to that point where they're able to realize what their voice is and what is them, what are they doing that is actually directly from them, though they're influenced by everything else.
Yes.
And so for you, what was the point that you when you realized that okay, this is Tramaine now, and this is what my voice is?
That's a good question. I think all right, so I go by my full government name right now. I go by Tramaine Long, and that's for a reason. But at first I was just going by Tramaine. And I put out an album under Tramaine called Clear. And I think doing that project, it was a cool album, but it wasn't the best, but it was a cool album. But I feel like with that project, I was really being authentically Tramaine because I was pouring out my heart. I was going through a divorce at the time, child support, all the different things, and I was pouring out my heart, um, you know, on that album, on all those records. Like, listen, like, and I feel like I was being Tramaine. I wasn't trying to be nobody else. It's a gospel album, but it was just like it was my testimony, and it was R&B, and I'm an R&B dude, so just like I wanted to be R&B, and I think it was just Tramaine. I sound like me. I don't think nobody really have my tone when it comes to my voice when I sing. I don't really hear a lot of people like you hear some, oh, they sound similar. I don't hear that with me a lot of times. So it was just I had to find out my uniqueness. Like, this is when I do this, this is what people really like from me. Let me focus in on that. But then how can I take what I'm good at and flip it? Or how can I take what Tank does and put a spin on it? And once I start finding those things out, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that, and put an F at the end. I just and put that on there, but but it's something different. And like, that was creative, that was catchy, that was, I feel like everything should have a foundation, but you build on it. So those people that I learned from was like my foundation. You know what I'm saying? But I built on upon that and start being creative using those skills. Okay, how did they do this? How did they do that? Okay, how did they? Okay, that was cool how they took that snare and put a bunch of reverb on it and did one spot and this and this. And okay, all right, how can I do that? But no, I'm gonna add a flanger to it to make it sound weirder or whatever. I don't know, but it's just the whole point of how can I take, because it nothing new up under the sun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We all talk about, you know what I'm saying? So, but once I figure that out about myself, it's just like, okay, that will help me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and I think, and you talked about, you are going by the Tramaine as the name then, and then now Tramaine Long. So you decide why did you change that?
Good question, man. I like the fact that you following up on stuff that I'm saying. So the reason why so at first I was going by Preach. That was my nickname. Everybody called me Preach this was before I was saved and
Why were you
doing,
called Preach?
because I was the out of all my friends, when somebody about to do something crazy,
Oh,
I'm the, and you don't need to do that. Man, you always preaching, but it just stuck. So just
yeah.
preach. They still call me that to this day, you know. But I had to stop going by that because one day I was looking at a magazine, and it was somebody had this back in 03, 04. Somebody had a magazine and they had a oh five, it's around that time. But it was a magazine, and somebody had their album cover they had a page in the magazine, and they had their album cover, and their name was Preach. And I'm like,
Oh, it's gone.
let me. So I started going by Tramaine, my regular name. I didn't want to go by my full name because I thought it was corny. So for me, I was going by that. So then I had a dude named AD. Shout out to AD. He the one of his thing that he majored in was marketing. And so one day we was in the studio and he was just like, hey, he said, Tramaine, I don't know how, because I was talking about my name. I'm like, man, I want to. I wanted to just use my name, Tramaine, whatever, but I don't want to use my full name. And he was like, why? So he started challenging my thinking. So he said, do me a favor, Google Tramaine. So I
Yeah.
Googled Tramaine. When I Googled Tramaine, all these other Tramaines came. So you had Tramaine Hawkins, who was she's a lady, an older gospel singer, but she pop up. When you put in Tramaine, she pop up on everything. So Tramaine Hawkins, all these different Tramaines. I'm competing
Yeah.
on my digital platform, like for my digital footprint.
Yeah.
I'm competing. So then he said, now put in Tramaine Long. All my stuff pop up.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just so I thought about it. I said, and since then I changed. I stopped going trying to. I'm trying to. I didn't care. It wasn't about what I felt like I wanted to do. It was just like, but God gave me this unique name, Tramaine Long, for a reason. Don't nobody else have it.
Yeah.
That's you. That's your legacy. Long is your legacy. That's what your father gave. So now I go by Tramaine Long. And so and that whole thing actually made me want to go to Full Sail University. I don't know if you heard of Full Sail. It's a college out here. They specialize in the entertainment industry, video games and stuff like that. Well, I got my bachelor's in entertainment business, and that's one of the main thing they focus in on is marketing. And so I had to. That's another thing. Like just understand. Okay, how do I brand myself? How do I, when people look for me, how do I stick out? Okay. And so that was one of the things that I end up having to do. So that's what I'm saying. Like you talking about '04 to 2025, all this investing that I had to do on myself. And to now I'm sitting here talking to you, you know what I mean? Or put myself in certain positions to be able to network with other people. You know what I'm saying? No, at one point, it was just straight talent. It was just straight talent. Me being an artist, but I didn't understand the business, and I used to get screwed over a lot in business on the business side because I didn't understand business. I didn't understand like I gotta have a budget. I gotta
Yeah.
be able to have money put aside so I can be able to market my music. You know what I'm saying? Like the righteous song, the put on your wings that's doing excellent right now. If I didn't do those things that I learned in school and I applied them to myself, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't help. So that's I know I just went around the world, but that's why Tramaine Long came about. It was all marketing. It was just understanding how stuff worked. And I didn't know. I'm just everybody feeling like "Hey, I have an idea. This is what I want.
Yeah.
See what the market is doing, like what's going on in the environment around you. Like, you know what I mean? How many other people are doing the same exact thing? Okay, if it is a lot of people, what makes you different? What gonna make you stick out? Okay, what is your niche? What is your market? Who's your target audience? Like that type of stuff I did not know before I went to school.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's because we've talked about this on the show even quite several times, even on other shows, that it's yeah, much as it's important to invest in the talent and know how to do certain things, learn how to create, but 90% of what makes you successful is not even the talent, it's what you learn of how the business and everything works. The talent, great, you'll produce something, you have it, but how are you going to be able to put it out, and how are people going to listen to it? That gap that usually falls in there is why we have even people getting into bad deals or having challenges with being able to monetize what they do and being able to profit from that. But and I think it's important that that came from you on the show, because most of the times when you're talking about it, because sometimes when it's from us on the other end, it's more like, oh yeah, but you don't understand how much it takes for us to go in here and take all this time, create, and then you're burnt out. You can't be able to do the other part, which is take care of your business. But then I'm like, the business is just as important as the time you invest in making the product at the end of the day. So that's good coming from that. And so now this is since '04 to now, that's about 21 years now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And we've been through ups and downs and advances in technology changes, and even this year we are dealing with a lot now with everything that is going on with technology. But for you, what keeps you motivated, and how are you able to adapt to new avenues that come up along the business?
So when it comes to business, like, I let people know this, and I ain't ashamed to say this because just because I'm an artist, I still work a full-time job. I still work a full-time job. I'm in corporate. So it's a lot of things that, you know, when it comes to the industry that I'm in, when I work for my job or whatever, um, we got to pay attention to the market. We got to pay attention to what's the climate that's going on around us. Okay, how this can affect us. Okay, now, okay, we see that new technologies are coming in. Like the company that I work for, like, you got a lot of people that need this job. So they've been creating, you know, AI and automations. And so right now we're using semi-automation type machinery, but we still need people to work it. But, they eventually want to try to get people up out of there and just make money and just have the machines do everything.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
efficiency.
Same thing with music. Same thing with the music. You know, you have AI. You got Suno AI. You got all these different things that create music and can do it and do all this stuff. Like, you hear that they signing AI artists. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you sign an AI artist? But you cannot look at this stuff. It can be used bad if somebody misuses, just like you can have a weapon and somebody to misuse the weapon. It's not the gun, it's the person that's using it. But you have to, I look at, so this is how I adapt. Okay. I look at, like, right now you got AI. I use AI as a tool. I use it as a tool to help speed up my workflow, right? For somebody like me, like once we get done with this, I gotta go to work. Like I gotta go to work. Man. I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm working, I'm a father, I'm a minister at church, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing all these different things, but I still got to do this. Okay, how can I speed up my workflow? So what I do is, like, I buy gear, I buy things that's going to help speed up my workflow, make it more efficient. So technology there to make it more efficient, but people get afraid. People don't like change.
Yeah.
Right? People don't like change. So for an example, I'm into video games and stuff like that. So when PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One came out, right? If you know about those two consoles, I ain't talking about PS5 and the Xbox Series X. I ain't talking about those. I'm talking about PS4 at that time when they came out. Xbox had this big idea. It was like, listen, we ain't gonna have a console that's gonna have a disc in it.
Yeah.
I have a console that has a disc in it. And this how people, they seen the future. They seen what was happening, but the problem was people don't like change. So PlayStation capitalized on that and they start making jokes and making little taking jabs at them in their commercials about Xbox talking about taking away the disc. Now guess what?
Everybody's doing it.
Years later, nobody's really going to buy this unless they just want the disc. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Want it as a collectible. Everybody downloading everything now. So, but you have to adapt with the times. People, and they already seen it because everybody's streaming.
Yeah.
Everybody, nobody, it's convenient. Nobody got to get up and go to the store. They ain't got to spend no gas. It's convenient. So, but you use it as a tool. So how can I make this work for me? And that's what I do when it comes down to all the stuff. Okay, they got some new gear out. They got some new stuff, man. It seems like some new technology. That may be good, but is it good for my workflow? Is it going to help me do what I need to do to be more efficient? Okay, what is the learning curve? You know what I'm saying? So, and that's how I look at it. I ain't trying to be too deep, but it's
Yeah, same here, same thing. Whenever that comes in, I don't, they would come in and say, "Oh no, now DJing is made easier. Anyone is going to be able to DJ." I'm like, okay, but I'll learn what is coming up, but I still possess the skills and the time I've put in and the investment I've put in. So what I have to do is just utilize what you have as new stuff, and it's way easier for me. I'm not letting stuff make work out for me, but it's taking advantage of what is available to, once again, efficiency, create that. But I'm never afraid of, oh, now technology is coming up, so they're going to represent what we do here and have an AI presenter do this. I'm like, I'm not afraid of that. Well, I quickly know that things keep advancing. I just have to learn what comes out that is new and see how I can take advantage of that. But continue doing what I do. And that's how, you keep evolving. And otherwise, if you keep on saying that, oh no, I'll still do this, and you'll be left behind quickly, and you won't even figure out, you won't even know how they left you, because I've seen some colleagues of mine in the business be left behind like that. And it's always funny. And I'm like, yeah, there was a time for you to learn this, and you just didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So what you have currently at the moment is the album Legendary.
Yes.
And so, first, talk to me about the title of this and what space you are in while creating this.
All right. So, um, it's something I gotta take on this journey because how I got here. Because this is not a thing. Like, oh yeah, I just want to make an album called Legendary. It wasn't like so. I was working on a album called Mrs. Long. All right, it's about my wife. It's an album to her. I was working on that, and as I was working on it, I ended up having a dream. And this dream is it's a real thing. I ended up having this dream. In this dream, I was walking into a room, looked like a little small church or whatever. It was like a room with something they were doing praise team rehearsal, right? And so I just hopped in with them and just started singing with them, like in the dream. And so this lady came up to me, and she just, as I was worshiping or whatever and singing, leading worship, she came and put her hands on me and spoke into my ear, and she said, "It's time for you to be legendary." So it's time for you to be legendary. And then I woke up. And so and I'm like, okay, because a lot of time when I have a dream and it sticks out, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? Why was all that significant? And so the thing, and this is where the album came about, the name of it came from legendary. Legendary to be legendary. But God told me this. And actually, I have a song on the album called Legendary talking about, and that was the actual first song that was made for the project, Legendary, with me and my blood baby sister. But her artist name is the word lyric. Yeah, I can check that out on Legendary. But basically, and when I was talking to God about it, he said, listen, the things like when you look at Paul, David, all these people that's in the Bible that that follow God. These men been gone for centuries and thousands of years. They've been gone, but their name still lives on in this earth because of their obedience to God. So God told me it's time for you to do this. He said, I've been hiding you. I wasn't even though I was working on that album, I was producing for other people. I wasn't even really focusing in on me. I was producing for other people. God said, no, it's time for you. I've been hiding you. Now it's time for you to go. And when I tell you that was um last August. Last August now. So I did another song called Be Holy. I put that out. That got over 70,000 streams in a short period of time. And then February 14th, I put out Legendary. And the first 2 days, it got over 200. I ain't never seen none of this stuff happen with my music ever. They got over 200,000 streams in the first 2 days, right? And then I ended up meeting somebody, and then I'm just telling you, this is how God works when you be obedient, because me and my wife, we just had a kid. He's one now, but at the time he was a newborn, and she was like, "You sure you want to do this right now? We just got this new baby." I said, "But God keep telling me to do it." And so now, guess what? She couldn't see it at the time because she just felt like the timing was off. But
Yeah.
now, guess what? My manager. You know what I'm saying? And so we work and she see. she's on, like, she's making the calls and doing whatever because she see it now. We got nominated. We got considered for a nomination for a Stellar this year
Oh yeah,
because of
congratulations.
album. Um, I, first time I'm charting on the radio. So Righteous is right now is that it just cracked the top 200, and that's without me putting no money behind it. I ain't put no money behind this one. Put on Your Wings, we put money behind it, and that's at 14 right now, and that one just crossed over to the Billboard charts. So it's and we doing all this independent. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? But God's been everybody keep telling me they're like, Tramaine, I don't understand. Like most people, the stuff that's going on for you, it take people years to get this, to
yeah,
go to gain what you're getting. And I'm like, it's all God because it's my obedience, just stepping out on faith, doing what He telling me to do. But people don't see. They see this moving fast, but they don't see since I was 17
yeah,
all the building and pouring into myself, into my craft that I
yeah,
put it in, and my relationship with God. Because I, even though I was doing music, doing all that stuff, I was building myself because God was taking a lot of mess out of me. Okay, so now being legendary means be everything who I created you to be. Be my child. I created you in my image and after my likeness. Be legendary. I'm legendary. You legend. I'm your father. Be legendary. Jesus said, I understand, do what I seen the Father do. I'm gonna be legendary like Him. And so, but I'm gonna do it in what He tell me to do. He has a plan for my life. I may have a plan, but His plan supersedes all my plans. His plan supersedes all your plans. So this album is not something that's saying about me being legendary. It's about God's children to be legendary. Be legendary. Be who God called you to be. All right. If you the DJ, you out there, you say East Africa,
yeah.
right?
Uganda, yeah,
Be legendary doing the thing that God called you to do. All right.
absolutely.
Just make sure when you do what you do, you make sure that you represent Him. You are an ambassador of Him, you're ambassador of Christ. You go out there and you represent Him through your character, through your everyday actions. You ain't got to be extra holy as thou, like how to real churchy. Just
Yeah,
so that your decision making and things that you do is lining up with the character of Christ. That's it. It's lining up with how the Father wants to see, how the Father sees you. All right. So, and that's what I do. So now God got me. My mission is His music industry. That's my calling. He called me here to expand His image across this industry. That's my measure. That's the grace He given me to expand my image. So that's why Legendary exists.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the album, guys, is out. It's available on all streaming platforms, but we shall play some songs of it when we get to wrap up the interview. But we played Righteous on the show before. In case you missed that, we shall definitely play it again. But before then, so the album is out. What are you working on anything else that you'd like to talk about on the show at the moment?
So couple of things is what's going on. Listen, y'all. If y'all listening and y'all want Tramaine, I'm gonna say this out there. If y'all want me in your city or in your country, whatever, go to Tramainelong.com and book me, okay? Book me. We'll work it out, do what we gotta do. Y'all want me to come and minister the music and bring some people with me, however we'll make it work. But one of the things that I got coming up, be on the lookout for the deluxe for Legendary. So we working on that. It's gonna be out sometime the beginning of next year. And we working on that. And next week I'll be going to the Avidity Awards. It's a good award show. And I got nominated for 2 awards on there for Emerging Artist of the Year and Gospel Rap Artist of the Year. And that's crazy to me. Even though I do rap, but
Yeah.
myself more singing, but it's because of the song that they got the Holy Strap song, so they picked that and they put me, and I was actually singing on that, but it was just more in a rappy style. But it is what it is. And then the week after that, I'll be at the Kingdom Image Awards. I got Rap Artist of the Year too on that one, so it's kind of a blessing to have all these opportunities to do this stuff. And like I said, that's what I have coming up at the moment. Oh, and then next year I'll be singing at the Soul Awards. So they supposed to be
Oh,
Donnie McClurkin and Fred Hammond. So I'd be singing there. So that's my opportunity to sing in front of those crowds. So now my job, I told you I still work a full-time job, but got to open up doors. I got to still take care of my household.
absolutely.
So you know what I'm saying? So, but at the end of the day, like I'm grinding and I'm praying that, you know, by me doing this interview with you, more people will see, more people will hear. And and I want to share this too, because I don't want to hold the interview too long, but you know, you know, one thing, if you out there and you somebody that does music, you know, I shared this with my wife when she was like, babe, like, well, we put a lot of money into this. And I was like, the money gonna come. Right now, we building a name. And so my job pays for me to do a lot of this stuff, but we building a name. So once the name get built enough and I'm moving, but God is growing everything on his
Yeah,
own. He's catching people attention like, oh, who is that? I never heard that before. Who's this person? I love his music. Oh, that's dope. Okay. Hey, can I get a sit down with him? Or can he come to this event? Can he do, you know what I mean? So those type of things is like you building a name. You have to, as any artist, you got to build a name. Sometimes you may just get into the right situation and somebody just pick you up. Like, oh yeah, but for the most part, you got to build a name, man. Like you got so many people out here that's doing this stuff, and so what's going to make you different? And so
yeah,
my relationship with Christ and my music is great enough on its own, but my character, who I am as a person, is what's going to open up the doors. So
yeah,
I got
absolutely, guys. The Extreme BPM. Make sure you make a date with us Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. East African time. That's when we get to hang out with people that make the music. But make sure you make a date with us Monday through Friday on the E Just Make Show. That's when we play more of the music and do less of the talking. Until next week, absolutely nothing left for you guys. This is the Extreme BPM E Jazz Radio and E Jazz Extra.